Welcome back to the channel. My name is Crawford. This is Virginia's for Lowriders. Last week, actually the last couple weeks, we have been hammering it pretty hard on the Mazda project. We have gotten a lot done. There's still a lot to do. We need a lot of body work. We need a lot of little loose ends, like finishing up the wiring, finishing up the brakes, finishing up tons of things. I am in the process of making a video right now. So this week's video is going to be a lot different than normal. I don't have enough footage to basically finish out a video and show y'all what I've accomplished so far on the Mazda. So we're going to mix it up. Last week I had mentioned I would like to start showing other vehicles on the channel. I have a lot of projects. I have terrible A.D.D and O.C.D, and we'll get into that like we normally do because I get straight away. So along with that, I don't normally record the other vehicles. A lot of people have stopped in and subscribed because of the Mazda project. A lot of mini trucking guys, huge support from the mini truck community and the lowrider guys and all that. I have a lot of other projects. It's all personal stuff that I would like to do, and I would like to share it on the internet, but I want to do it a little different. So this week I got to finally meet a lot of the mini trucking community in person, and that included the people that I talked to on YouTube that also have YouTube channels. One of those people being Jason from Magic Man Metal Fab. Jason's thing is you pick it, he builds it. Kind of stealing Jason's idea because it's a great idea. I want to take it. Basically, that's what we're going to be discussing today in this video. I have so many projects and I don't really care which way they go. I am completely open to any type of ideas that y'all have. This entire video we're going to go over all of the projects in the yard, and I want y'all to pick exactly what I do to them. I mean, pick. First, you get to pick which vehicle we're going to start with. We're going to still work on the Mazda. I want to put that out there. Don't think if you're a die-hard mini trucking guy and you want me to see to finish the Mazda, I'm going to finish the Mazda. I promise. It's in the garage. Currently sitting in the garage. I had my boys come over and help me push it in. Which again, I'm working on that video. I just haven't finished it up. I'm getting straight away here. I want you guys to vote. I'm going to start doing polls. I've never done a poll before online, so you got to bear with me until I learn how to do all this. First, just to feel it out, we're going to put in just a comment. We're going to go over, basically let me know so we can get a feeler for all of this. I want everybody to pick the vehicle that we start with next. And then I want everybody to pick the suspension type, the engine type, and potentially the wheel type within reason. Hopefully it's things that I already have. I'm going to lay out everything that I have for these projects, and y'all get to pick. Some of them I have exact ideas how I want to accomplish them, but others I am 100% open. So this is going to be a literal whatever y'all decide collectively is exactly what I'm going to do to them. I'm not going to junk any or cut them up or light them on fire. We're talking about builds here and reasonable within my budget. I guess we'll just get into it. We're going to walk around the yard and I'll explain everything that I have parts wise, because I'm a parts hoarder when it comes to projects, and I'm a project hoarder obviously because there's a lot of stuff that I could potentially do and show y'all how to do it, I guess. Before we walk outside, I'm going to explain why I didn't get a video done on the truck this week. This entire week was kind of like really in-depth O.C.D and A.D.D just taking the wheel and straying away, and me attempting to get the truck in the entire time, and the truck got pushed in at Sunday evening. Basically, I haven't had a garage without a project in it in like 11 months, and it's killing me because my brain can't function when there's clutter around, and my garage is always cluttered because of the project. So I took this entire week, and I've been going a little wild with the, like I said, the organization, the O.C.D stuff, with what I can with my tiny garage. But I'm going to show you exactly just some examples of what we're getting at and why this is taking me so long and why we have to push the Mazda project off until next week, and then I promise we'll get into the other stuff. So I'm going to go over this really quick, and we'll get into the car stuff. This week, I've had these things like where y'all see me complain about it. I'll be in the garage and I'm working on something, and it takes me 40 minutes to look for something that I just had. And it drives me absolutely nuts. So I'm trying to find basically a place to keep everything to where everything has a home, and I can actually put it back in its home to know where it is from then on. I finally figured out, after some Googling, proper storage for all of my sandpaper types when it comes to DA sanders. Everything has a home. All of my flap discs and grinding, well, I didn't really use grinding wheels, but cutoff wheels and everything else has its own place. Fabrication cart, everything, well, obviously I'm still organizing. This is my method of organizing, is throw everything in a big pile in the middle of the room and then slowly put it back into a place that it hopefully will stay. I finally got some air tool holders to where everything can go back where it needs to be, and they're not all thrown in a drawer in a huge pile. I had a subscriber actually ask about this last week, and I've had somebody ask about it previously before, so I figured I'd go through a little example. And I can go in depth if there's somebody out there that wants me to, but somebody asked me about all of my cases. I have all of these, and I'm working on all of these. When I say ridiculous O.C.D. stuff, this is what I mean, because it takes me hours and hours to come up with something that I know I can put this in the slot and I can keep adding to it or subtracting from it whenever I need it. So, for instance, butt connectors. That's a good one. There are thousands of them, and they all have a home and a place. Whenever I need a restock, I know exactly what to do. Stainless steel isolator clamps. They have sizes and a place to go back into. Roll-lock discs, cookies, whatever you want to call them. Sizes and exactly where they need to be. There is, some of these are getting kind of heavy. Battery stuff, clamps, cable ends, everything. And it goes on and on and on. Everything has a home, and everything will eventually be labeled. I'm actually waiting for Amazon to come in because I ran out of label maker stuff. Another thing that I've talked about it a few times in other videos. I have 3D printers, and that's another hobby that I get extremely sucked into and spend hours sitting in front of the computer coming up with something that I didn't have to personally buy from a website. I can like say that I made it, so it makes my brain feel better. Went through, printed all of my tool holders, and finally hung up all of my electric tools to where everything is easy to grab. Batteries, clamps, everything is organized and has a place to go back into. That's just an example, and it goes way beyond that. Squirt bottles, all of my plastic blown mold tool cases finally have a home. I don't know if I've ever actually shown this on camera, but I have a hammer addiction. It's kind of crazy. Something about wood attached to metal. I don't know. Again, O.C.D, weird stuff. So let's go outside, talk about what we could potentially do and what we can get into, and what hopefully y'all will participate and vote and let me know. I'm going to bring my little notepad out here that I have some notes jot down to try and remember all of this. Some of these things I have exact ideas of what I want to do to them. We'll start off with one that the only thing that I have in question of what I want to do to it is the engine. I'm completely open to the engine. That first project is my 62 Ranchero. I bought this thing, I think for like $600. Let's just say 8 years ago. I've been stockpiling parts. I have completely fresh front end, fresh doors, fresh quarter panels that are, I think, in the back of my van, and a bunch of other random parts. My idea, try and find some shade over here. So my idea with this is I've always wanted to build a gasser. I had a 53 Chevrolet. I traded it away when I found this online, and I originally intended on turning that into a gasser. So with this car, I have a 4950 F100 front suspension that I would like to utilize. I have a blown 383 Chevrolet engine that I would like to use potentially on this. I have a Ford 9-inch rear end, and I will be building a frame completely from scratch, beginning to end, and everything will be documented just like we do the Mazda. Full build. Along with that, I would like to do a complete roll cage and integrate it into everything to where from the outside it still doesn't look like it has a giant roll cage inside of it. So that project, that's exactly what I'm going to do to it. Gasser, jacked up, big wheels on the back, arched fender wells, full frame, basically everything again that you can do to a vehicle, just a little faster on this one. I don't plan on racing it necessarily. Like I've told everybody, I just wanted to do just hook once. If it stands the wheels up, I'll be happy with it. I don't care if it explodes after that. One wheelie. That's all I'm looking for, is one wheelie out of it. So I'll do a little walk around, explain some more. So I have a fresh front end. This one's obviously pretty beat up. It's in decent shape, still good-ish sheet metal. It has a Mustang 2 front end in it right now. All of that's getting removed. It actually doesn't even have a floor in it. And this is a unibody car, which is kind of sketchy. So I have a couple sets of fenders. My idea is to actually take a set of front fenders, graft them into the rear quarter panels. That way, whenever you do the normal gasser thing where the tires poke a little bit, it's sticking out of a factory fender flare instead of just a crudely cut circle. Whenever I'm talking about engine possibilities for this, I have the 383 stroker, but I also potentially am going to have a big block Ford. A buddy of mine, I worked out a deal, and I think I'm still getting the big block, so that could potentially go in here. The only thing, again, that I'm stuck on is it will have a full frame, it will be a gasser. All of the roll cage and everything, I'm definitely going with that. I don't want to lower this one or do anything like that. I just want like old school race car stuff. But overall, it's in pretty decent shape. It actually has a station wagon tailgate on it that I'll have to finish out. I'll be putting full quarter panels on it. Basically, I'm using the shell, sort of, and everything else will be completely made from scratch. It'll be a full frame, tube frame, all the way down. I have a Ford 9-inch out of a Lincoln Versailles. So it'll be a disc brake rear end, 9-inch, that's pretty narrow. And again, the straight axle out of an older pickup truck. We'll call that vehicle number 1 for the list. Again, I'll have to figure out how to do polls, and there will be actual voting later on, but you can let me know in the comments where you want me to go with, just for now, just so I can get an idea of what we're going to be looking into for this. Vehicle number 2. A lot of people have noticed this and commented on it. For some reason, most YouTube channels, I don't understand why, like put-ins, and I've seen like Brandon has one at Lower Class Fab. I've come across a lot of YouTube channels. For some reason, we all end up with Model A's sitting in our backyards. No idea why. It's really weird, but maybe eventually we'll have a little Model A build-off thing on YouTube and see what ideas people come up with. So this is my Model A. I actually basically did a restoration on a buddy of mine's 08 F350 for this. Completely redid the bed. I actually made videos on them on YouTube. There's some like really old ones where I'm not good at talking to a camera. Not saying that I am right now, but if you want to go back, there's a couple on there still. So I did a whole lot of work to an F-350 in trades for this car. Again, very similar to this one. I want to build a full frame, which I already have. I actually, over there, I can show you. I built a frame table 3 years ago so that I could build a frame for a Model A, which I have another Model A four-door over there. That one's just really far gone. I made the entire frame already. So the idea with this one, again, y'all can decide. Just leave it extremely low. It'll be channeled. It'll be sitting on the ground regardless. But I have a complete hydraulic setup for this. I have a complete airbag setup for this. The 383 could go in this. The big block could go in this. I have a 302 that I would like to turbo eventually because I would like to get into turboing stuff with blow-through carbs. All open, completely open to any of those. I am sorry if the wildlife resort I got going on in the background that doesn't stop all day is coming through because sometimes this camera picks up everything. I have all of those things that this car could potentially have in it. So it could be hydraulics, it could be airbags, it could just be static. I have a Chevy rear end for this one. That frame is, like I said, pretty much complete already. Everything on it's just tack welded together. I repurposed that out of a friend of mine's, his old frame table. He built a new one and then just randomly decided to cut up his old one. So it's made out of 2x4, I believe, square tubing. Again, y'all decide every bit of it. If you want me to chop the roof a whole lot, I'd like to do at least 6 inches. I did 6 inches on the other one. I'll chop the roof a lot. Airbags, hydraulics, power plant, you pick it. Do a little walk around. It's in pretty decent shape. The lower half of it has been ate up since I've had it. All of this will need to be fabricated, and I will go over how to do every bit of that. Right now it has 4.3 in it. It's pretty terrible. It actually has a drop axle in it. I have a brand new drop axle for this. Brand new disc brakes. This was my project before the Mazda. Like I said, the A.D.D gets straight away. I can't stay on track when it comes to projects, and YouTube has helped a lot with that because y'all expect me to actually finish something. But the groundwork from this has already been started. But it can be finished in any way. Like again, it's in decent shape. It's pretty much all there. I have fiberglass fenders. I don't want to run a fender. I don't want to run any of this crap. I have an actual metal hood and a grill shell for it. And overall, it's a pretty good starting point for as Model A's go. So we'll consider Model A project number 2. The next thing that I've always wanted to build, and I've been lugging this thing around from house to house because I moved a lot when I was younger. I bought it around the same time as the Ranchero. Any of these, except for the Ranchero, we can do bags, hydraulics, and engine, basically, and power plant. This one, I have a 383 without a blower already in the garage. I made a video on it a while back trying to see if that engine was worth anything. Not a super interesting video, but it's still on YouTube if you want to check it out. I have a 383. It's actually a Merc Cruiser, or however you pronounce that, 383. I got it for free. I need to find a set of heads for it, and I have everything else to make it carb rated to go in this project. Again, this can go lowered, just slammed, which I'm cool with. This can be on the ground, body dropped, which I'll have to make front suspension for it, or do like a Mustang 2 setup. So hydraulics, bags, static, you pick. This one already has a power plant because I have that kind of set aside for this one. But it is a 94, I think, stubby Chevrolet van. It's in really good shape as far as Chevrolet vans go in our area. It does have a little bit of rust that I will have to make some panels for here and there. But overall, it's no major dents or anything crazy. but I've always wanted to put a van on the ground. I've always wanted to lift a van. I don't have the garage for that yet. I have all the axles and stuff because I planned on lifting this initially. I just don't have the room to do that yet, unless I built it outside, which I'm not really looking forward to. But again, airbags, hydraulics, static, 383. You let me know. We'll consider this project 3 on the potential list of things to do next. It's in pretty decent shape. It is being used as storage for all of my junk right now, and home to however many critters. We will consider this one to be project number 4. I bought this car 6-ish years ago, and I originally bought it, and I bought a brand new CCE 3-pump setup for it. I intended fully on bringing it home, putting it in the garage, and cutting it up. At that time, I had sold my daily driver, and things happened, and then I eventually started driving it. I've been daily driving this thing for like 6 years now. But again, I'll go over it again. It can be hydraulics, it can be airbags, it doesn't take much to body drop these things because the frame is like this much lower than the actual car. It's probably a matter of just modifying the body mounts potentially. But I am fully willing to cut up my daily driver and put this thing on the ground. It is a 97 Lincoln Town Car, and it is in really, really good shape. I put almost 100,000 miles on this thing since I've owned it, and it doesn't have any major body damage or anything. I had awesome luck with this thing. For some reason, it keeps eating heater cores. It's probably because of the system that's in the trunk, but it's in great shape. That's one thing that I will have to do. If we decide this is the project, I'll have to take my system out and put it in something else. It's just garbage, normal, cheap stuff, but it does pretty good for a daily driver. A couple 15s, some extra wiring. I made the amp rack and all of the extra random crap in here, but again, potential project. What do we say, number 4? So this one, I spoke about it in one other video. This is going to be my replacement daily. This one won't be a full build necessarily. It kind of will, but kind of won't. I need to swap it to American brakes. I need to timing belt, water pump, all of those like normal maintenance-y things. I have a brand new set of coilovers for it. I have a bunch of stuff to fix parts and pieces on it. So basically it's like a clean it up, get it nice, get it a little bit lower, hopefully. And oh man, I didn't even notice this. I noticed this. I got a ding the other day, but apparently somebody just went all out on my car. Man, that sucks. Hopefully I can buff that out. They already left a dent in there. I saw there was red in here. People, man, I swear. But this is a 96 Toyota Crown Majesta. And overall, in really good shape. I need to do a little paintless dent repair here and there. Clean it up, buff it. Again, lower it some more. It's already lowered a lot. It has really crappy drop springs on it that it came with from Japan. Again, these birds out here are wild today. Again, it'll be a quick video, probably like a one-time video. So if y'all want to see that, I'll upload it. I kind of want to upload it too because there's a lot of questions about these cars and their forums and groups and stuff that people have a really hard time answering, and that'll be a good chance to answer some questions for some other people. So project number 5, quick and easy, probably 1 weekend worth of work ish. And yeah, let me know on that one. Not a lot of deciding on that one. More of like a just deciding if you want to see me do it, I guess. Figure I'd save the best one for last. A couple people have actually already told me that I need to do this, and I agree. I've had this car for probably 5 years or so. I found it in a man's backyard. I got it running in his backyard and drove it out. It had been sitting for around 10 years. That's why it looks the way it looks. I've always had this idea of having a lowrider that looks like it was built in the 90s. Somebody parked it and then just left it alone. Like in the woods, not in a garage, not pristine condition, but a ratty lowrider. That's exactly what I achieved. So I'm very fond of this car. It's really nice because it takes a break from like making sure that every little panel gap is perfect and the paint is perfect on this and that, and trying to this is like the other side of all of this. It's the carefree side, and my buddy James gives me crap about it all the time because of how rough some things are on this car. All of the fabrication work that you can't see, because it took a lot to get this car to sit on the ground. It lays frame. All of the work that you can't see looks really, really good. All of the stuff that you see on the outside looks like complete crap. So this is my 86 Chevrolet Caprice. It is running on 2 CCE, just regular old street pumps with a whammy tank. Running 8 batteries, and as you can see, I was having a little bit of corrosion issues here, but I wanted a very clean, as in you don't see anything set up, but I wanted it to be ratty. So everything that I did, I made it rust and look like rough. Obviously I have a little seep there that I need to fix. But this car, basically I put it together, whatever it was, 5-6 years ago, and I just drive it. I've never done anything to it. Just occasionally check the oil. I think I changed the oil once. I've washed it one time before. There's something about it that is like nice to like take a break from, like I said, trying to make it really super nice. This is the complete opposite of that, and it's nice to enjoy that. The idea for this, which again, it's already set out. I don't want to change the engine. James is trying to convince me to put the van 383 in here. I really don't want to get into all that. It drives down the road perfectly fine, and it sounds pretty decent for being a stock 305 piece of crap. The idea is to body drop it. Hopefully, that would take me less than, let's just say, like 2 months worth of weekends. Because it's a big car, and fitting it in my garage, which is where I built it, and taking it apart in my tiny garage is the only like kind of time-consuming hard portion of it. So in that, we would be building full fender tubs, because it has the factory tubs in it now, and it surprisingly doesn't touch them, and completely cutting the body out and doing probably just a traditional, it'd be a mix of a traditional and a stock floor, because the frame rail's so big in the front. So there'll be frame rail modifications once the floor is cut out, and we'll be making panels, bead rolling panels. But I hate the way that Chevrolet's frames taper. Even though this car is laid out, it looks like it's 3 inches off the ground. It looks really good, but it doesn't look as low as it actually is, which is kind of sad. So that's pretty much it. I want y'all to decide 1 through, what did we get up to? 6. Pick the car. I'll try to make some polls. After we pick the car, we'll make another set of polls that y'all decide exactly what we're going to do to them after the fact. That about wraps it up. I think that basically I just needed a little break. I need to get some garage cleaning out of my system. So I apologize for not getting anything done on the truck, and I know a lot of people look forward to it. But there are a lot of other things that I need to get finished up. So last weekend, even though I worked the entire week before, it was probably the first weekend that I haven't worked on the truck at all and actually just went out and did something. It's kind of weird. It's been a long time. I think I've been doing a pretty steady every Sunday for almost a year now. But the Mazda, we're picking it up next week. We will be going over, I'm going to start my inner fenders. I'll go over how I'm going to make those. We're going to be finishing up the wiring in the cab. We will be installing the carpet in the cab. We'll probably go ahead and put the seat in the cab. I don't really see a reason why the interior couldn't go back together. So there could be some potential really good progress next week. I need to go through and gap the doors. It's kind of weird. These doors came off of a different truck and they don't fit all that well. So there's a lot of adjusting that needs to be done. So we're going to get our gaps right. We're going to make in our fenders. We're going to pull it completely back apart after everything's marked out. And I know that the gaps will be right. I need to start body working the doors, body working the fenders, the hood, all of that stuff, and getting it all ready for paint. I do want to talk about the bed. I think we'll leave that till next week. I have some ideas that I want to toss around, but there's a lot of deciding going on already in this video, so we don't need to overwhelm it with more decisions. We'll save that for next week. But again, if you've never been here before, there are a ton of videos of us working on the Mazda project. There are a ton more to come, and as y'all just saw, there's a whole lot of information and a whole lot of watching me ramble and do my thing, potentially, all in the backyard and a lot of projects. So let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see y'all next Sunday.